McCullummy River. It begins as rainfall and snowmelt in the Sierra Nevada range, flows through the heart of Lodi, and eventually to the San Joaquin River in the California Delta, and finally into San Francisco Bay and the Pacific Ocean. Along the way, the McCullummy flows through many landscapes and is used in many different ways. The river passes through hills and valleys, wilderness and agricultural areas, timber and mining regions, industrial sites and residential areas. As it moves along, it provides habitat for wildlife, hydroelectric power. It irrigates the crops that fuel the area's economic engine, and provides a wide variety of recreational opportunities for local residents and tourists alike. Though we depend on the river for many of the things that contribute to our quality of life, sometimes we forget that the McCullummy River depends on us for the quality of its water. This is especially important when you consider that there is no new fresh water being created. The world's supply of fresh water is limited and is continually recycled through a process of evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. When this precipitation falls to the earth as rain or snow, it is gathered in natural areas called watersheds. Though we might live miles away from a lake or river, we all live in watersheds. The land area that drains into the McCullummy River is its watershed and includes a large portion of Lodi and northern San Joaquin County. All along the course of the river, the ways we humans live and work in the watershed, and the different ways we use the land, affect the quality of the water in the river. The McCullummy began to suffer at the hands of humans as early as the middle of the 19th century. Hydraulic mining techniques were used to extract gold from the hillsides, washing excess soil into the river. Ditches, dams, and reservoirs that were built by miners reduced the river's natural flow and hampered its ability to cleanse itself. Trees and vegetation were cleared from the riverbanks for farms and home sites, making those riverbanks less stable and more susceptible to erosion, leading to even more pollution from soil. Though many people think of pollution as a recent result of the modern industrial age, we have been fouling and altering the McCullummy for more than 150 years. Only the nature of the pollution and our understanding of its detrimental consequences has changed over the course of time. The Environmental Protection Agency now says that most states report that the majority of pollution comes from what are called non-point sources. Most non-point source pollution is contaminated runoff from urban and suburban areas. Houses, driveways, roads, businesses, shopping malls, and parking lots have replaced open ground with hard surfaces. This open ground once served as a natural filter for runoff as it percolated through the earth. Now, runoff flows across our roofs, driveways, streets, and parking lots, picking up both man-made and natural contaminants along the way. These contaminants include automotive products that leak or are spilled on driveways, fertilizers and pesticides used on our lawns and gardens, yard waste such as grass clippings and leaves, and waste from our pets. These items are often washed into storm drains in the streets after rainfall, or even after watering a lawn or garden, or washing a car. Storm drains empty directly into ditches, creeks, or the McCullummy itself. Water and other liquids that flow into storm drains do not go to a sewage treatment plant, and this runoff has a significant impact on the quality of the water in the river.
You can take the same one I used and dump it out.
These students, participants in Lodi's Storm Drain Detectives program, test stormwater runoff from a Lodi neighborhood as it enters the river. These tests are a good indicator of general trends and conditions affecting the quality of the water in the McCullummy River. We benefit from a clean, healthy river system in many ways. The McCullummy is used for a wide variety of recreational pursuits that include swimming, fishing, boating, picnicking, birding, and other wildlife viewing. Parks along the river add to the quality of life and help maintain local property values. These serene distractions from the pressures of everyday life also provide an economic benefit for the community through increased tourism dollars. But recreational uses can have a negative impact on water quality. Pollutants from boat motors, bank erosion, and habitat destruction from boat wakes, littering, vandalism, and noise are some of the problems. Unless we become more thoughtful, informed, and responsible inhabitants of this shared space, we can upset the delicate balance of this ecosystem. The primary land use in the McCullummy River watershed is agriculture. San Joaquin County is the fifth richest agricultural county in the nation, with sales of crops and products approaching $1.5 billion each year. Clean, fresh water is vital to agriculture for the nourishment of crops and animals. Without proper management, farming can have a negative impact on the watershed. Irrigation practices that overuse water supplies and cause excess runoff and erosion, fertilizer and pesticide runoff, and contamination from livestock waste are some of the problems. Fortunately, many who operate agribusinesses in San Joaquin County understand the importance of a healthy river system. Many local grape growers now use environmentally friendly farming practices outlined in a workbook published by the Lodi-Woodbridge Wine Grape Commission. Cliff Omart helped write that workbook.
I think overall we're trying to focus on input reduction. That means fewer pesticides, fewer fertilizers, promoting soil health, all geared toward trying to reduce non-point source pollution, which is what ends up getting into the McCullummy River. To get good agriculture, you need a healthy environment, and so it's all interrelated, but I think a healthy river would be a foundation. So you know it's an indication that you're doing things well, but also a healthy river will keep your environment healthy. So it's very much a circular system.
The California Cattlemen's Association has published and distributed a water quality management plan to its members. The goal is to improve the quality of natural plant growth along riverbanks on private rangeland. Recent research shows that one of the best ways to improve the water quality of streams and rivers is to restore the zone of natural vegetation along the banks. One landowner helped coordinate a restoration effort on a tributary of the McCullummy River. Bev Sparrock is spearheading the landowner-driven restoration of Murphy Creek.
Mostly we're going to try to get rid of the invasive plants. That's one of the main things. Another one of the main things is to get rid of the blockages for the fish passage. We don't have the salmon runs in the creek that we used to have. 15 to 17 years ago, the salmon ran in this creek every fall. And we haven't seen that for probably at least 15 years, maybe 17 years.
Restoring streamside vegetation helps improve water quality and overall river health in several ways. A well-established corridor of trees, shrubs, and grasses reinforces stream banks and helps prevent erosion. Plants can filter sediment, livestock waste, and other pollutants from the water. If the vegetation is a well-developed woodland, it can slow and temporarily hold stormwater and runoff, decreasing flood potential. While these plants can't prevent the natural occurrence of floods, by merely slowing flood waters, they can reduce the occurrence of unsightly debris clogs and property damage to roads, bridges, and levees. Riverside flora benefits the watershed in many other ways. Kent Reeves, a biologist for the East Bay Municipal Utilities District, explains.
Do we have a lot of species? Do we have a diverse environment here? Do we have different structure? And if that's the case, then that indicates a relatively healthy riparian area. How that relates to water quality, runoff, things of that nature is that it acts as a buffer strip to the surrounding land that may have an influence on water quality, especially agriculture, which dominates the region.
The health and variety of plant and animal life in the watershed is an important indicator of the river's health. The disappearance of wildlife from the watershed should serve as an alarm to its human inhabitants. As the Earth's most adaptable species, it is much easier for us to change our behavior for the benefit of all who live in the watershed, including ourselves. By making some simple and inexpensive changes at our homes, in our recreational pursuits, and at our businesses, we can help make the river healthier. These simple steps include reducing fertilizer and pesticide use on lawns and gardens, or finding natural alternatives such as native plants, beneficial insects, or organic treatments. Directing the flow from gutters and downspouts onto lawns and away from paved areas. And most importantly, never using storm drains for household wastes like paints, solvents, or used automotive products like oil, transmission fluid, and coolant. Also, keep yard waste like grass clippings, leaves, and pet wastes out of these storm drains. What we see when we look in the river is a reflection of how we live, work, and play. Is the Mokelumne River as clean and clear as we would like it to be? Or as it should be? By learning to take these and other simple steps to improve the health of the river, we improve our own health and well-being, and our reflections in the river.